January seems to have become the month at which all the award season hopefuls films are released, and this year is absolutely no exception. These films mostly get released in the States in December and then here in January in order to be eligible principally for the Oscars. We have a whole host of them in January and February. It's not always a case of we can't always get the films that we would like to show, and because we don't have enough screens for one reason and competition from other cinemas the other reason, but this year we've been able to get every film that we wanted to show. The first of these Oscar hopefuls, and it's a very Oscar hopeful I would think, is The Reader, which is Stephen Daldry's adaptation of the Bernhard Schlink novel from 1997, which tells a story of a lawyer who discovers that as a younger man he had an affair with an older woman who is now in the courts for Nazi war crimes. The film stars Kate Winslet in one of two films we have of her this month, in which again she's pretty likely to be nominated for an acting prize, and old Filmhouse favourite Ralph Fiennes. As I said, the film is directed by Stephen Daldry, who did The Hours and Billy Elliot some years ago. And if it isn't figuring large come February the 20th, I think it is, then I'll be very surprised. January the 16th sees the release of The Wrestler, which is a film of twin revelations, really. Firstly, it's directed by Darren Aronofsky, who up until this point has perhaps been a somewhat adolescent director. His films always had big ideas in them, but he brought them to the screen in a rather overwrought manner. And anyone who saw The Fountain from last year will know exactly what I mean. But this is a much more grown-up film, and he has managed to match a much more downbeat shooting style to a subject matter that really suits it. And the other revelation would be the performance by Mickey Rourke. It's quite astounding, really. It's complete vanity-free performance with absolutely no a fearless performance completely, and not quite, I guess, what anyone would expect from the man. The film is, as the title suggests, about a wrestler called Randy the Ram Robinson, who is he's well past his best, and if you're thinking WWF wrestling, think again, because this is seriously lower league stuff. I don't recall a staple gun, for example, ever being used in WWF. Mickey Rourke plays the wrestler, and it's kind of him trying to last longer in the sport than he really ought to, and at the same time trying to patch up his problematic, to say the least, relationship with his daughter, for whom he's been a somewhat absent father, and sort of tentatively trying to have a relationship with his stripper friend, played by Marisa Tomei. If Mickey Rourke isn't one of the 5 Best Actor nominations, then I will be very, very surprised. Now, I never thought I would ever be sitting here waxing lyrical about a Ron Howard film, that man who brought us Cinderella Man and The Da Vinci Code. Never mind booking a Ron Howard film into Filmhouse, but I have. The film in question is Frost Nixon, although it would have to be said that the film's strengths lie not particularly in the directing, but in the razor-sharp wit and intelligence of the writing, and some brilliant acting as well. The film is it's the film version of the stage play by Peter Morgan, who wrote The Queen a few years ago. He's adapted it himself, and it tells a story of the famous meeting in 1977, or interview that Richard Nixon granted the then sort of lightweight TV presenter David Frost. It was the first time Nixon had spoken about the Watergate scandal and his impeachment, etc. Now, I haven't seen the stage play, but some of the reviews that have come out for the film already are actually saying it's a better film than it is a stage play. I can't recommend the film highly enough, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it again when it comes out on January the 23rd, and continuing the sort of Oscar theme. If Frank Langella, who plays Nixon, isn't around at awards time, then I'll be shocked. Lastly, in January the 30th to be precise, sees the release of Sam Mendes' Revolutionary Road, which is a film adaptation of Richard Yates's 1961 landmark American novel, which tells the story of a young married couple who decide that the sort of normal middle-class, aspirational, suburban New York commuter belt life isn't for them, that they're too special to live such a life. So they decide to follow a childhood dream to up sticks and move to Paris, France. Now, needless to say, not everything goes according to plan, but I'll say no more about it than that. The film stars Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet in likely the second of her Oscar nominations this year. And it really is quality stuff, and it's as good an adaptation of this particular book as anyone would have had any right to expect. And the film is essential viewing, especially for those who might be familiar with marriage or long-term relationships. January the 2nd sees the re-release of Sam Peckinpah's 1973 film Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia, which features probably Warren Oates' finest ever performance. He plays a sort of down-at-heel piano player in a Mexican bar who gets wind of a way by which he can come into lots of money, which involves bringing someone the head of Alfredo Garcia. So he sets off on a kind of road trip through Mexico to that end, without really realising quite how many other people are trying to do the same. The re-release of this film triggered in us a need to do an entire Peckinpah retrospective, so we're doing 11 of his films out of 14. We were unable to get his first film, and the last two are probably not quite of the standard of the rest, but all those films will be showing throughout January and February. We also have a massive season of Middle Eastern cinema, which far too many films to mention here, but all those details can be seen on our website or in our printed programme. And also we'll be giving you another opportunity to see all the films that are nominated this year for the BBC4 World Cinema Awards. And I can't quite remember what those titles are now, but again, full details you can find on our website.